All right, so welcome back. My name's Keith. Listen, I just want to tell you about my upcoming trip. My wife and I have booked, it cost us literally $88 to get there per person. I haven't booked the return flight yet. I'm waiting. Unless they make me book it, but we're going to El Salvador, San Salvador. We are going to go to the beach. It's about 45 minutes from the city, a ride up to the coast. And the plan is we're going there for 4 nights, 5 days. The plan is to obviously have just a chill beach day because it's pretty damn cold here in Massachusetts right now. I don't know if you can see, but the trees are all bare. The leaves have left. Today's actually not a bad day. It's Saturday. And so anyway, we're going to do at least a beach day, but we're going to hike a volcano. And we're going to check out San Salvador, the city. Check out some of the cultural areas there. And we're also going to do some waterfalls. There's a place called, I think, Rua de Flores, but it's about a 3.5-hour drive. And it's supposed to be a beautiful drive through the countryside with a bunch of flowers. Just too far away. I'd love to do it, but not on this trip. So a little bit off the beaten path. My wife says, why are we going to El Salvador? And I'm like, well, that's kind of the point. She's like, why can't we go to Costa Rica? And we can go to Costa Rica. But first, we're going to go to El Salvador. So from the Dominican Republic last week to El Salvador this week, I did have a flight. I worked Thanksgiving Day. I missed Thanksgiving with my family, but that's okay. Not the best situation, but I was on reserve and I don't fly much. So I'm still grateful. And I was grateful that day to be working for the airline that I'm working for, to be part-time, to be able to book a flight to El Salvador for $88 on Delta. And I've already checked the seating. I think our first flight into Houston has about 50 available seats, and our flight into El Salvador has about 80. So I don't see that as being a problem. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. So that's cool. This is going to be, I have a TikTok channel. This is more going to be for my YouTube channel. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I try to go on a walk daily. Last week, I think I did about 18,000 steps. I was pretty sore that day, or the day after actually. Today, I'm not sure what I'm going to get, but the weather's nice. It's kind of windy. I'm walking uphill right now, so sorry about that. But yeah, so I'm in my 50s. I'm retired. I was a firefighter pretty much from the time I turned 18. And then I got paid. I started off as a volunteer, got paid. I did my time in the Air Force, got out, came back home, got on the job. And total about 24 years, 25 years. So I went ahead and pensioned off. I now collect a pension. And I started driving school buses. That was a pretty good job actually, but not really a good job for me. So the hours weren't really working for me. I didn't like the Monday through Friday. I didn't like the early mornings. And sometimes I wouldn't get home till 6 p.m. I applied for Delta and they actually brought me down to Atlanta, flew me down, and I went for the interview and didn't get selected. Thank God. Not that it's not a great job, and Delta, I'm sure, is an amazing company to work for, but I don't want to work full time. So it wouldn't have been a good fit for me. But when I got home, I said, I'm going to look for something else. And I was still driving for First Student. So I got back online and I started looking at other airline companies. I could have applied to any of the legacies. Eventually, I could have reapplied to Delta. Maybe switched up a couple of things I feel like I might have done wrong in the interview. But I saw the company that I currently work for, which you can find out if you follow me. And they were hiring part-time out of Providence. And I lived 30 minutes from Providence. I don't know how in the hell I found that. I just got lucky. I applied, and I think within 3 to 4 weeks, I had what they call a CJO, a conditional job offer. So all of the airlines are kind of the same in that sense. They give you a CJO. You're not really hired until you complete their training. They send you away. So I had to go, my first week was in Providence, second week, third week, fourth week, we're in Salt Lake City, Utah. And once you complete the training, you then start and you go on probation for my company 6 months. So I went ahead and did that, came back to Providence. They do what they call an OE flight, which is basically where they call them an ATS, kind of make sure you know what the hell you're doing, okay? So you do your OE flight, and then once you finish your OE flight, which is usually the first week, maybe second week after you get back from training, then you're kind of like a full-fledged flight attendant, but you're still on probation. So you do your 6 months of probation. At 3 months, well, right away, you can start flying on your airline for nothing, for zero, to wherever they might fly, standby. At 3 months, you can start, for my airline, you can start flying on other airlines such as Spirit, Avelo. There were about half a dozen airlines at 3 months. And then at 6 months, the world opens up. You get Delta, you get United, you get Lufthansa, TAP Air, Portugal. Where else do you want to go? Latin American Airlines. I don't even know. JetBlue, Southwest, you name it. You can fly on that airline for taxes and fees. So some places are a little more expensive to fly. Like I just flew to the Dominican Republic. It cost me a little under $300 round trip. That's kind of pricey, right? Considering my trip to El Salvador is going to be $88 each way, more than likely, right? So probably like $160 round trip. But every country is different. Every country has a different set of fees and taxes, and every airline's a little different too. But the great thing is our price structure doesn't change. So you can book, you know, like right now, if you're not a flight attendant, you can't just go online and there's a fare available. But if you don't book right there at that time, that fare could change 5 minutes from now. And it most likely will, depending on algorithms and things like that. But as a flight attendant, your flight fee doesn't change. It's the same no matter what. So as long as there's a seat available, sorry, I just killed that hill. Now I'm gonna be going downhill. Yeah, so as long as there's a seat available, your fare most likely is not going to cost one way out of any country, maybe $150. If you're flying business class, which you can also do, I think I flew business class to Portugal, lie down, flat seats, served you dinner. It was an overnight flight, dinner, breakfast, hot washcloths, crazy. Right? I've never flown business class, so I didn't know what to expect. That's too rich for me. I'm just a retired firefighter. Why would I ever fly business class? So anyway, yeah, I think that cost me $220 to go to Europe. So where have I been? I've been on the job now for about 7 months, and I've been all over the US, but internationally, I've been to Colombia, Mexico, Portugal. We landed in Porto and then took the train down to Lisbon and then departed Lisbon back home. Where else have we been? My wife and I have been to, we took an awesome trip to Miami. It was like a 3-night, 4-day trip to Miami. We flew on a private jet. It's not just your regular airlines you have access to. We flew on a private jet that it was like a business class jet. It wasn't private in the sense that just her and I, but it was JSX. You can look it up. JSX, we flew JSX, I want to say for maybe $90 each way, maybe less. Hold on, workouts. Workout wants to know if I'm doing an outdoor workout. Hold on, let me go ahead and get this. Yes, workout, I am doing an outdoor workout. Let me get that logged. Record outdoor walk. Thank you, sorry about that. All right, got that working for me. So yeah, we flew JSX to Miami. you don't fly into Miami International, you fly into Opa-locka, which is just outside, take an Uber into Miami, got our hotel. So I always feel like the most cost prohibitive item on any trip for me was always the airfare. Ugh, it would kill me. I don't mind paying for the lodging. You know, you can usually find, especially on Airbnb. Sometimes you go on Airbnb and it'll say like this lodging or this place is usually already booked. It's kind of like a lucky find, right? And I don't know exactly how it works, but I think the people who are renting those places out can drop their pricing based on, you know, their openings. So sometimes I don't book my Airbnb until I'm on the flight headed into the country that I'm going to, right? So back to where I've been. Went to Medellin, went to Guatape, climbed, I think it's called La Peñol or El Peñol. I climbed them. It was crazy beautiful. And then we did Miami. Miami was so fun. Oh my God, so fun. Expensive, but so fun. We did all the tourist traps. So we did all of the tourist trap foods, all of tourist trap. You know, like a dinner. One dinner cost us over $200. So I wouldn't do that again, but you know, you got to do it the first time. We went to see on the strip down there in Miami the dancers. It was I forget the name of the place. Really cool. Definitely do that again. I love Miami. So look a little bit about the actual job. So you can get a layover as a part-time flight attendant. Some of the people that got on with me are always doing layovers. I'm not. I don't have the availability, generally speaking, with my lifestyle. So I'm not usually doing the layovers, but you can get a layover in San Diego. You can cross the border into Tijuana. You can go drinking. You get a 24-hour layover, you know, as long as you're responsible, right? Stop training at a responsible hour. I'm saying that in case anybody's listening. No, really, you should, right? You get back to the aircraft on time, you get back to the hotel, you get a good night's rest, but you had a good time. And the company paid for the hotel. You know, you went and had a good dinner. If you went to Los Angeles, the company's paying for the hotel. If you're on a layover, right? You get to go to the beach, Muscle Beach, any of those places, right? Rent a car. Typically, I'll just go. Like I can get a car rental out of LAX or San Diego for short money, under $100. You know, while you're there, they're paying you for time away from base. It doesn't. It's not much, but it's probably enough to cover your rental car. You know, I think the general consensus is maybe it's supposed to pay for your food, but you know, I use it for my rental car. It's probably pretty expensive to get an Uber and Uber everywhere you want to go in Los Angeles or San Diego or up the coast, you know, but you got 24 hours. You get in at noontime. You don't have to travel back with your crew to the hotel. You can just dip and say, hey, I'm going to the rental car agency. I'll see you guys later. And when you get to the hotel, you check in and you just tell them your crew and you show them your crew badge and you check in. And then you go out and you have fun, and that's what everybody does. They enjoy themselves. They go for dinner. They enjoy the sun. So where else have I been? Siesta Key, multiple times. Florida, it's kind of like the Cancun of America. That's what I say, of the US. It's beautiful. So the company I'm working for is going to be starting Cancun trips, I think in February. They're going to be doing Saturday trips to and from. So that's another thing, another opportunity. And like I said, on your airline, you don't even pay the taxes and fees for the company that you work for. You just fly for nothing. So if there are available seats into Cancun, my daughter, myself, my wife, we can all fly for $0. But you got to stay for the week unless you want to fly another airline out. And there's got to be seats available, ultimately, at the end of the day. So that's what I'm doing in my retirement. I think it's been great. I don't work that much, but I definitely enjoy the flight benefits. And I've said on my TikTok, but it's definitely something you should consider if you're retired. If your kids are out of the house, if you don't have a lot of responsibilities holding you back at home, and you have the flexibility and the freedom to just go, you should go. There have been times where they sent me to, this is actually a great trip. I've had some great trips with my company. I got called, I think it was like, I'm not sure, maybe 2 p.m. I was on a PM reserve. And anyway, they flew me to MSY, which is New Orleans, Louisiana. And they flew me into New Orleans the day before Halloween because they must have been short staffing. I don't know. But to me, that's great. Like, give it to me. So I got into New Orleans at around noontime and I loved it. I went down to the Mardi Gras area there and Bourbon Street and just had a great time. Had dinner, went to Mother's and had some authentic food. At least I thought it was authentic. So I went to Mother's, and then the next morning I got up and I had a flight. And when the flight got back, because it was just a turn, when the flight got back, I went back out to Bourbon Street. And they didn't fly me out of there. They paid for the hotel. They paid for my trip down there and my transportation back. So when I checked out of the hotel, it wasn't until the next day, I want to say in the afternoon, and I just had a free vacation. Another excellent trip I had, courtesy of the company, was I was on call again, and they activated me to go to Dulles International, and I did. They flew me to Dulles on a 10 p.m. flight out of Providence, and I flew into Dulles, and I worked as a flight attendant with a coworker of mine that I came on the job with, and another coworker I'd never met before, but everybody's been great. So we flew from Dulles. We had to fly a group of passengers to upstate New York. That happened later in the evening. I'm not sure of the circumstances and why that happened, but it did, and that's fine by me. So we got everybody home to New York, and then we took a group of passengers from New York back to Dulles, and it was about 2 in the morning. We checked into our hotel, went to bed, woke up the next morning at Dulles, right outside the airport at a Hilton or something like that. I've never been in a crappy hotel. They've always put us in really good hotels. I'm thankful for that. Anyway, out of Dulles, and I got up in the morning, had breakfast, took an Uber to the Great Falls National Park, and went hiking. You can see some of the trip on my TikTok. Like, this place was amazing, right? And to me, that was a blessing, that trip. Give me that every day. A layover like that, get up in the morning, even though we got in at like 2 a.m., I don't care. Go hiking in Great Falls National Park by myself. Like, all I could hear were the birds chirping and the water running. Dude, come on, right? And then the next day you come home. So my flight left out of Dulles at 10 p.m. and got back into Providence at like, I don't know, 11:30. So, I mean, I live 30 minutes from Providence, so easy, right? And I just had a quick little vacation, courtesy of the company, and I had to work, big deal, right? So you get those things, man, if that's something you like to do, and if you're open and available to that, you should definitely get on it. So, for me, I have 2 kids. One's 20 or 19. I think she's 19. She's 19. No, sorry, Emma. She's 20, and my son's like 24. Both of them are in college, the nursing program. My son got his MBA. He's on a wrestling scholarship. Started him when he was 6. He went Division I, wrestled. They ended up paying for almost his entire education through the MBA. Had a couple of red shirts. He had a COVID year and a red shirt. So that pretty much got him through everything. And my daughter is in the Air National Guard, and they're paying for her education. So yeah, and I'm free to kind of move around and enjoy my retirement. My wife's still working full time, but her job's pretty flexible. So she's able to take time off. She doesn't go on every trip, but she goes on at least half, you know. And this job, you know, when I first applied to the job, my wife said, "What are you doing?" And my daughter said the same thing. "What are you doing?" "Yeah, Dad," because I didn't tell him I was going down to Atlanta for an interview with Delta until like a day before. And I'm like, "Hey, I got a job interview with Delta Airlines in Atlanta." And they're like, "Why? What are you up to?" And I didn't get the job, and I came back and I said, "Hey, I got a job interview with this other airline. Wait till you check it out." And they were like, "What the heck are you doing?" And I'm like, "Just wait. You're gonna understand. You will realize my vision." And I think they do now. My daughter has flown multiple times. I've even given out buddy passes, right, to family and not my friends, but my daughter's friends. Yeah, so you get 6 buddy passes per quarter. They're good for a year. So you get about 24 per year. And at that year mark, the ones you got the previous year will expire, but you'll get a new 6. So you'll max out at 24 if you don't use them. It's like a use or lose system. Those buddy passes are only good on your airline. And they're good for a leg. So if you have a flight that has a connection point from Providence to Norfolk, that's one leg. And you know, if it's a breeze through, which is what we call it, and your flight number doesn't change and it goes to Los Angeles, that's still only 1 buddy pass. You know, if your flight number changes, you're probably at 2 buddy passes for that flight. So a flight out and a flight back is 2 buddy passes. And you still have to pay for those. Those are not free. The people you give the buddy pass to, your buddy, has to pay the taxes and fees. So they still are gonna cost probably $70, $80. But if you are, and you don't get assigned a seat, you're flying standby. Most of the time, the gate agents will be kind to you. If there's available seats, they'll give you the best seat they can. But even I flew back from San Diego with my son, and I had a middle seat in the very last row of the aircraft, surrounded by screaming children. But guess what? I was still happy. You know, it's really a great job. So I can't complain when it's free, right? My son, I had the buddy pass because he's 24. So he's not eligible. Once you hit 24, you age out. So you can have a companion if you're not married, or if you don't have a spouse, you can have a companion fly on your benefits. You can't have both a spouse and a companion, as far as I know. Your parents can fly on your benefits. Mom, dad can fly on your benefits. I think in-laws too. I don't know for sure though. But yeah, so basically 1 month of training, 6 months of probation, and then the world opens up to you. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. You can hit me up down below. You can ask me about what I did in the fire service, what I did in the Air Force. You know, I already told you I drove for First Student in Providence. Teamsters, I think it's local 251. Great, I love the Teamsters. They were great. Their base pay rate in Providence is $37 an hour to drive a school bus. Like, dude, you're making bank if you're a school bus driver in Providence. Good for them, they deserve it. These guys put up, and girls put up with a lot of shit, you know. Yeah, so, and now I'm a flight attendant, and I don't do it for the money. I only do it for the flight benefits, and I'm happy to do it. I'm proud of it. I enjoy my job. I enjoy everybody I work with so far. Everybody's been great. I think it's a great company. Anyway, yeah, hit me up if you have any questions. Let me know what you think. Maybe it's not for you. Ask me about what I might know. Look, I'm 7 months in, maybe 8 months. I'm not even sure how long now. You know, I don't know anything about this industry. I only know what I know, right? I'm not an executive. I don't know about the cost per mile. You know, I don't know any of that stuff, right? It's not my forte, right? You want to ask me about dragging a hose line up to the 3rd floor of a tenement house at 3 a.m. on January 5th when it's 17 degrees outside? I can tell you about that, okay? I can tell you what it's like sitting in a house fire, not wanting to come out because it's warmer inside than it is outside. That's the kind of stuff I can tell you. What else? I can tell you about my Air Force career, and I can tell you what I know about being a flight attendant. All right? I'm gonna post some more stuff in YouTube. I'm just starting out YouTube. I really started on TikTok, but I'm gonna start. I think the long format of YouTube is much better. I'm gonna be able to add some extra stuff. I have a drone that I fly. I brought it to Portugal. I flew it over Lisbon. I flew it over Porto. You know, stuff like that. I'm not sure if it's really great for the TikTok format, but I think it's great for the YouTube format. I took my drone out to San Diego, Sunset Cliffs with my son. Oh my God, so awesome, right? All of this because of the company and because of the job. I'm not even kidding, dude. I'm just blessed. So yeah, peace. My name is Keith. Follow me. I'll start adding to this YouTube. If you have any questions, I like to walk. Okay, I get my walk out, not every day, 3-4 times a week. I grind out a walk because I'm old. And if I don't, God, who knows, right? So yeah, follow me down below. Peace again. Keith, take care.